So, my final Star Wars review for tomorrow when I go see Forces Awakens, yeah! So yeah, I did the prequels. I gotta do the original trilogy too. And you'll notice I've been here after that. It got too dark outside for me to continue doing the videos that side at this time of the year. But it's surprisingly very well lit in here, I realized. So, yeah, I'm going to do it in here right now. No, I got no one in the house to really get any background noise. If there is some background noise, it's probably from the TV. But it's in the other room, so fine. And let's also be clear. When I say it's Star Wars, I'm talking about the original theatrical trilogy. I'm not talking about the special editions. No, I'm talking about the ones that we have on VHS. The ones I have on VHS. So, yeah, now when talking about it, let's just start with the first Star Wars, New Hope, which, to be clear, it's Episode 4, New Hope. I don't care about anyone who says, no, it's Star Wars and the other ones are episodes. Why does that one not be an episode? Why is that the only one that's not an episode? I'm sorry, they are all episodes. That's one of the things I'll agree with that Lucas changed. Point being, let's get on to it. So, I mean, when you look at when you look at Episode 4, when you look at A New Hope, first thing you notice with all the Star Wars movies, particularly the trilogy, is that for the time, those effects really were outstanding. I mean, some of them you could, looking back today, are models and it's clear. You can tell, like, the X-Wings and the Death Star, all that. You can tell it's models, but it looks really effective. It still holds up fairly well. I dig practical effects very much. CGI has its place, and I don't question CGI a lot of the time, but as long as it's done properly. Don't get me wrong, there's CGI that is terrible. I've seen some terrible CGI this year, but it still looks fantastic. I mean, what's the best way to put this? You look at it and it looks fantastic for what it is, but I think part of the charm of the original trilogy is the fact that sorry, I'm just hearing noises. It does, and this is weird to say, it does look dated. I don't know how to exactly explain it. The charm of the original trilogy is the fact that it looks dated. It does, but not in a bad way. It looks like it was a product of their time. It looks like they had to, work with minimalistic budget, a lot of minimalistic techniques, resources, so they made the best what they can. They made something that worked. I see the lightsaber ignite for the first time, like, that looks awesome. You hear the stories being told. You didn't need to go into big explanations like you did in the prequels. All you had to do was, with Obi-Wan basically sitting on there saying, well, over 1,000 generations, it is one of Guardians of Peace, for the Doctrine, for the Empire. Just a really brief backstory. You are all that's left of their traditions, my friend, when Tarkin talks to Vader. And then, of course, you look at the prequels and think, yeah, they got a great cast. Harrison, granted, a lot of these guys were kind of unknown, but Mark Hamill, kind of an unknown. Carrie Fisher, kind of unknown. Harrison Ford was making a name for himself, but it was still kind of an unknown. But then you had the voice of James Earl Jones. You had Alec Guinness of people who hated playing Obi-Wan, by the way, but he did it because he was a professional. You had Peter Cushing as Grand Moff Tarkin. I mean, you had such caliber actors just in the first one alone. And you see the weight and gravitas that these guys had. This was the only one of the original trilogy that George Lucas directed. And for what it is, it's the best of the ones he directed, too. It is. I mean, it didn't have these horrible racist stereotypes. It had hokey dialogue. It wasn't perfect by any stretch of the meaning, but it's a movie that introduced us to a world that we wanted to learn more about, that it was something that was greater than just these small people. There was a whole universe to explore. What is the Force? It's like a force. It's an energy field that surrounds all living things. It binds us. It controls us. And we go on, it's like, what is the Force? The beauty of the series is it didn't really truly explain how you get the Force or what the Force truly is. It's just the Force is, more or less. And I guess that all depends on what your definition of is. The Force is. I guess is a weird but good way to put it. The Force just is. And I think a lot of people kind of just like, yeah, the Force just is. Right on. And the Force is just, it's powerful. It's amazing. And, the scenes with actors, You know, Alec Guinness playing off Darth Vader. That's a great final confrontation. And mentoring Luke. Han Solo's kind of just rough scoundrel. Hearing Chewie. It's not only just a great adventure, but it's funny, too. It is. It's like, oh, don't get upset. You made a fair move. Yeah, it's not wise to upset a Wookiee. You know, when no one is upsetting a droid, yeah, well, that's because droids aren't known to pull people's arms out of their sockets when they lose. Wookiees are known to do that. Plan out to. Not the Wookiee win. Just Chewbacca, you got that. I love that. And then Han, you know, he's a scoundrel. And by the way, Han shot first. I don't care how you change it, Luke. Hey, Lucas. Yeah, it's technically official history. It's technically what happens, but we're all gonna always think of Han shooting first. Take that as you will. If you like the change, your call. I didn't. I always liked Han shot first. Great, I'm not gonna get into some flame war online with someone who's like, no, he did this because this is characters. This. Yeah, no, he shot first. But he did this and this. No, he shot first. That's just the way I see it. Han shot first. I'm not going to go into in-depth argument for that. I'm not going to go into why he changes his character at all. I'm not going to do that. It's just, to me, Han shot first. It just makes him cooler that way. But it's not perfect either. It's not. Because some of the dialogue is a little weird. Or it's just, the line delivery is hokey. Princess Leia is like, partly British at points. That's kind of odd. There's just a couple things that don't add up half the time. Some of the effects, the effects are dated, but it adds to the charm of the movie. But it does show. So it's none of the movies are perfect. I mean, I can find flaws if I nitpick, and if they're more prevalent than like in the prequels. But on the whole, yeah. I dig the first Star Wars. I dig it a lot. It used to be actually among my favorite, but then I'm like, no, wait, let me watch the other ones a couple more times. Oh, no. This one's my favorite. And like many, my favorite is, segue, Empire Strikes Back. That is my favorite movie of the Star Wars trilogy thus far. I'll have to wait till Force Awakens to really see if I add that into my favorite roster or not. I have a good, strong feeling it'll be at least in my top 3 Star Wars movies, because my favorites right now are Empire, then Return, and then Star Wars: A New Hope. But I mean, it could easily trump one of them. But yeah, Empire did what very few sequels do, and is it added to the first movie. It added more to the universe. It took it in a new direction, and it was not the hey happy ending wrapped in a bow. No, it left on a bleak cliffhanger. Hey, Han's been captured. Oh my God, Luke just got his arm cut off. Found out Vader's his dad. Spoiler. They got their asses kicked. But they're still here. They're still surviving. We'll be back in 3 years for Return of the Jedi, where we'll kick their asses. So it was everything a prequel honestly should be. Plus, all the actors came back. They're great. They gave us a romance we cared about, and an epic line of just suave badassery. Just, I love you. I know. Just, the line that made 1,000 women's panties wet. For those of you little kids watching this video right now, ask your mom and dad about that line of reference. I'm not going to explain it. But I think anyone who heard me say that knows what I meant. Anywho, though. It gave us a romance we didn't care. Few of us cared. Few of us cared about the Padme Anakin romance because they weren't interesting characters. They weren't. Han and Leia, we liked these characters. We saw that they were kind of interacting off each other, and that they were digging on each other, and that there was a romance forming. We dug that, and we understood why she would kind of maybe gear towards him. He was one of the kind of guys who didn't take crap from her. She's a princess. She's a leader, but at the same time, she didn't take crap. He didn't take crap from her. He's one of the people who more or less, stood up to her kind of. Let's face it, Leia got a little pompous at points because she felt she was so important. The rebellion was so important. This is a guy who's just trying to make his way in the universe, man. And then he gets caught up in this shit, and it's like, no, this is not my problem. This is not my fucking problem. And then he just, it's now my problem. Damn you, it's now my problem. Absolutely, your worshipness. Look, I have everything under control that you got in the middle of the into the garbage chute, flyboy. Ah, man. And of course, then we meet Yoda for the first time, who, while I do think CGI Yoda serves a better purpose for what he needs to serve in the prequels, I love Puppet Yoda. I love Frank Oz doing it. I love Jim Henson Studios made him. He looked great. You felt he was really there. He's interacting with Luke. And he really is just kind of that wise master. Yoda, you seek Yoda. You're a great warrior. War does not make one great. Now there's a you, it'll be. Okay, he didn't laugh, but still. I like doing the Yoda laugh when I get him. And then, of course, it's not only that, but it's the symbolism and the, I guess, foreshadowing what could happen in the future if you're not careful, where Luke faces the Vader in the forest, and Dagobah in the swamp, and he says, your weapons, you will not need them. And let's be clear, Vader didn't draw his weapon in that scenario. Vader didn't draw his weapon until Luke drew his weapon. Luke drew his weapon, and then his weapon came out, and then it's Vader's, it's Luke! That is why you fail. And of course, probably one of the best scenes in the entire... of course, we gotta also include the addition of Lando Calrissian, the most suave mother in the whole galaxy. So, preaching you cold-blooded vibes, because after you drink a few, you won't give a shit. So, yeah, and of course, the final confrontation of Cloud City, one of the best overall, basically the entire, because that's basically the climax of the film, is once Luke gets to Cloud City and confronts Vader, that entire climax is one of the best scenes in Star Wars history. Period. That's just the way the fight itself is great. I mean, say what you will about the choreography in the original. It's still decent choreography for what it is. But it's definitely more kind of sparring, whereas the prequels are a lot more energetic and more fluid. Still, this was more intimate. This was more, these guys are dark. There's not just combat going here. There's conflict of ideologies. There's good versus evil, and good is standing up to evil and losing, because evil is that much stronger right now. And Vader can actually move stuff without even using the Force, without using his hands. Just, look, I'm throwing things with my mind. Nope, not even moving my hand. Nope. Okay, I'll just direct it this time. Boom. Then he just flies in there. And of course, the epic real, I am your father. No! And it's great. You actually look at his reaction, Mark Hamill's reaction, and you really see the acting he's doing. It's one of those things where he's in denial, but in acceptance too. It's like, I know it is true. I can't accept it. You actually look at it, it's like, oh man, this is a guy who's just had his whole life destroyed here. Don't make me destroy you. And of course, he gets his new robot hand. And then it ends with that, staring off at a... I don't know what they're staring at, honestly. If I'm remembering cosmology at all, I think it might be like a galaxy. I think they're staring at like a different galaxy. I think. There's no way that's a star or a black hole they're looking at. I can't remember exactly. All I know is that looked like a galaxy. Or a comet, maybe. That's what they were staring at. I have no idea. All I know is Return of the Jedi, well, not my favorite, because I have issues with the Ewoks in particularly. It's still good. I enjoy it. It was a good final movie. It's kind of hard to say that now, but for the original trilogy, it was a good final. It was a good conclusion. That was a good way to put it. Until next time, anyway. I mean, we see Luke's been training, and he's a far more badass Force user now. Just you will bring Captain Solo and the Wookiee to me. Jabba, just a massive prop, man. I'd like to have Jabba sitting in my yard. That'd be a great prop to have. And then, of course, the Rancor is another slightly stop motion, but, you wonder if that may have been a guy in a suit, actually, because all of that was really there. So, I know some of it was a puppet, but ours, it could have been like a guy in a suit, like a really weird suit, but I love that guy, too. The whole fight scene on the skiff is great. Han Solo and Princess Leia. Who are you? Someone who loves me. Someone who loves you. Whoa. You are clingy and I need my space. I know that laugh. Chewie's back. All of them are back. It's great. We see Boba Fett and he kind of goes out like a bitch, but, minor complaint because, Boba Fett appeared in Empire Strikes Back and he was cool. And he doesn't, and he's a kind of a bitch now. What happened to you, Boba? What happened? And then, of course, we go into the whole Endor thing. My issue with the Ewoks is not even the Ewoks themselves. So, I mean, they're cute and cuddly for the kids, and they're like the native. It's nature versus technology and all that. So I get that. I understand that. I'm fine with that. I don't believe these little teddy bears can Then again, these stormtroopers do suck most of the time, so who am I to judge? But I find it hard to believe that these little teddy bear natives can orchestrate an entire tactical attack on the Empire, destroying I think those are AT-STs, the chicken walkers, more or less, with logs. How flimsily do you make these machines? In fact, how strong are these Ewoks to lift logs like this? Those logs had to have weighed a good ton each for them to be able to, or at least half a ton, to be able to destroy that machine like that so easily. Therefore, these Ewoks probably weigh maybe 40 pounds each maximum, because they're almost no bigger than Yoda. So, and I don't know what their lifting strength capabilities are. Maybe let's just say for a second they're a little stronger than they look. They can lift twice as much as they can as they weigh. That's 80 pounds they can lift. That still takes the minimum of the minimum of 13 Ewoks per log. Probably 14 for good measure. I'm sorry. That's really hard for me to grasp. Ewoks, man. And I heard a great basic argument for it. Why didn't you just make them Wookiees? You could have made a Kashyyyk. You could have. Now, in the lore, it's actually really revealed that Kashyyyk was under Empire control, and Chewbacca was one of the only liberated Wookiees, one of the few. So that makes sense. An expanded lore. But this is the movie. And I don't know if that's still true in the new comics. So this is the movies. All you had to do was make them Wookiees, and we would have accepted this wholeheartedly. I would have been like, Wookiees are badass! Yeah! I can't believe 4 of them can lift that giant log. Absolutely. But then we get like the great scene with the Force Ghost Obi-Wan talking to Luke after Yoda passes. It's all cool. Yoda's like, your father he is. Told you, did he? Then I am a Jedi. No, Vader, you must confront Vader. Luke, there is another Skywalker. And then, of course, everyone in our son's like, so what I told you was true from a certain point of view. And yeah, I'd agree that's kind of like, so what you're saying, you're using the, because I decided not to tell you logic, it's kind of true. Kind of. Dick move, Ben. Dick move. And, of course, then we get the introduction of the actual introduction. We saw him briefly in Empire in the hologram, but the actual introduction of the Emperor, played by Ian McDiarmid. And, my God, he sells it. The whole time, he sells it, man. You will pay for your lack of vision. It's like, oh, I'm afraid the battle station be quite operational. You want this, don't you? Yes, take your weapon, strike me down with it, and only then will your journey to the dark side be complete. Oh, man, Ian McDiarmid, man. Gotta love him, gotta love him. Here's a good question. You think we could see him return in some form in the new trilogy? Because he did return in the sequel novels. He was cloned. So anything's possible. I don't think they will, but anything is possible. Especially if, Snoke turns out to be Plagueis. It's possible. Anywho, though, going back on topic. Then, of course, the final conversation between Vader and Luke is, while I contend Empire Strikes Back's final climax scene between Vader and Luke is probably one of the, if not the best scene overall in Star Wars, the overall moment and the confrontation between Luke and Vader comes at a close second or third. There's so much emotion going through that scene. It's just, well, not through the first part. The first part's just, that grants that when he confronts his father, he turns himself in. Originally, it was a really good scene. It's like, I can sense the good in you, Father. It is too late for me. revealing Vader's always actually been in conflict. He's always had regret. He's never 100% given himself to the dark side. Like 95% dark side, but there's always been a little good still in there. Luke saw that. Luke felt that. And Luke brought that back out. It's like, the Emperor was right. You don't know the power of the dark side. And then, of course, the fight breaks down. It's like, if you will not join us, then you will meet your doom. Just throws a lightsaber. Then that confrontation, which, by the way, I rewatched that scene online a while back, and I think it might have been from the special editions where it was more cleaned up. That did not look as good. It did not. If you watched like the cleaned up version of that scene where it's not as, I don't know way to put it, a little grainier, a little less poor quality, the poorer quality actually gives a more intimate feeling to the movies, I think, instead of you cleaning them up. I didn't need them cleaned up. They were great the way they were. Give me the original trilogy on DVD, which I believe you can find. It's just not easy to find. But that scene where it's like, your thoughts dwell on your sister. So, you have a twin sister. Obi-Wan was wise to hide her from me. Now his failure is complete. If you will not join us, then perhaps she will. And that's when Luke just goes whole hog, man. The emotion, the rage, all the time, the music playing in the background. Just wow, oh man, you feel the anger, you feel the rage in Luke there. He tapped into the dark side briefly. He briefly went to the dark side, but he quickly came back. It was just perfect. And then, of course, and I commented on this in the prequels, when I reviewed the prequels. How is it that I find the Force Lightning in the Return of the Jedi movie more believable than the Force Lightning in the prequels? And it looks like the Force Lightning you'd see in a Spencer's Glow Ball. You will pay for your lack of vision. And now, young Skywalker, you will die. If you will not join us, then you will die. It's like, I am a Jedi, like my father before him. So be it. Jedi. Just the way he says it is like, fuck. Well, we gotta kill you now. And, of course, Vader's redemption is great. It's beautiful. And, of course, the reveal of what he looks like under the mask. He's this pasty white guy with a voice of James Earl Jones. Figure that one out. Now, granted, I know why he looks like that. He was burned. He hasn't seen actual sunlight for years. Of course he'd be pale. He's nearly translucent, for God's sake. And he's got burns all over his body. Of course he looks like that. Then Luke burns the body, which I heard someone argue that in the original series the helmet didn't burn with it. That's why it's weird Kylo had it. No, if you actually look at the original trilogy, no, he burned the helmet with Vader. Because he was burning Vader. He was getting rid of Vader. And then, of course, we have the final, yum yum. Gibakadopa. Ba blah ba ba blue. Do 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 boo boo boo. Da ba. Da 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 da. Yub yub. Gibakadopa. I don't even know how to. I know it's gub gub. Or nub nub, something like that. Anyway, it's fun. And then, of course, we see the Force Ghost. And although it makes sense why they brought Hayden Christensen in for the retooled version, remastered versions, I kind of like the other guy. The other guy made a bit more sense. But just because that's how I grew up on it. It actually makes more sense that it's Hayden Christensen, because that's how he died. So, yeah. Even though it's weird he's in the robes he didn't die in. Because Yoda and Obi-Wan are both in the clothes they died in. If you actually look, he's wearing what the original Anakin wore. So, no, he's not. He didn't wear those. He wore that dark-looking uniform. Whatever that was. It was a bit more combat-oriented. So, I mean, is it my favorite? No, Empire's my favorite. It's probably my second favorite, with the original being the original New Hope being my third favorite of the trilogy. And if I were to rank them after that, it's Sith, then Phantom Menace, then Attack of the Clones. Attack of the Clones is my least favorite by far. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on the original trilogy. They're not perfect films. They all have their minor flaws. Some of them have more flaws than the others. But you know what? I love them to death. I grew up on them. I will always love Star Wars. I'll raise my kids on Star Wars. And, you know, yeah, it's Star Wars. What can I say? So, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you'd like us to review something, put it in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. I get no other videos planned between now and Force Awakens, but who knows what will happen. But yeah, Force Awakens. It's finally fucking here! The wait is over. Man. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you tomorrow.